Welcome to the last video of the project, the Personal Finances Project. We've just got three more funds that should be picking up now that we've got a feel of how this works. You just got three more types of funds. Now we're still under stock, but now we're looking for an international fund. So how are we going to pick that? Let's go back to our fund screener. And we're going to pick advanced screener. And performance, we wanted the 10-year. And now we're going to say international. So all international. And I think that's all we need. Let's give it a run. Let's see. Oh, only 21 showing up. So I'm going to go to that column heading for 10-year return and organize them by that. So internationals, what we got? Only 10. Okay, so we're going to look at that bad boy. And again, this is mine. Get your own international mutual fund. You invested 10,000 in 2010. Again, this is after, we had that huge collapse of stocks in 2018. We've had the COVID, although COVID's not over, so who knows where we'll go. But you can see the COVID right in here, right? Okay. And here's the collapse of 2018. Ugh. But still, if you'd put in $10,000 in 2010, you would have doubled it and then some. No promises. So let's first check the things that could just rule it out by checking the fees and the expense ratio. Now, for expense ratio for international, I'll let you go all the way up to 1.3% because you got to pay somebody to live in the country. It's going to be more expensive. 1.3% or less. This is good. You want this low because this is how much they charge you to run the fund for you. No load, good. So I would put 0.82 in operating expenses, 0 under load. Let's start filling stuff in. So now we know we're going to pick this one. T. Rowe Price is the name of the company. That'll go right here. The name of the fund, T. Rowe Price Global Stock Fund. And WebleySchwab.com. Let's look at the performance. So this is a benchmark that Morningstar puts out comparing all world mutual funds that invest in large stock. And so that's who you're comparing this guy with, not the S&P because it's invested in different stuff. And almost double for the 15-year. Let's look at 10-year. Look, not bad. Okay, so we'll pull our 10, 5, and 3 years, put them in here. We'll look at our, wasn't it here that we saw the risk? Nope, it was on the summary. Okay, you get your Morningstar ratings right here, which would go overall 5, 3, 5, 10, 5, 5, 5. Then risk, this is going to be medium high. So MED-HI. That would go right in here. Not bad. So you see how you're creating, this is your portfolio in your retirement account. You've now got stock, both index and actively managed for domestic, and you got some international. So you get to a job, human resources brings you in, say, okay, we've got these things you can put in your 529. What do you want to put in there? You know what to do. You're going to pick some of each, okay, and you know what to look for in picking them. And again, hopefully you're not just going by what I'm saying. Hopefully you know people smarter than me on this stuff. You go talk to them. Not that I've said that before. Go talk to your parents. You got an uncle who's really good at investing. You got a grandfather or grandmother. Talk to them. But what I hope this has done is at least made you knowledgeable about the vocabulary. So when they're talking about a mutual fund, you know what it is. When they say, "What are we going to do, index or actively managed?" You get an idea of what it is, and you get some feel of how to look around. Okay, now time for bond funds. You balance out the bonds and the stocks with, and remember we said up here, we said how much is going to be stock and how much is going to be bonds. So you balance out some of the aggressive but risky with some of the more staid and steady with the bonds. So let's pick some bond funds. And we're going to, for bond, you're going to have index and actively managed. So let's go back to our fund screener. There we go. Advanced, so that I can pick performance, the 10-year, and we're going to look at, now, let's think about this. You could get this wrong. You can get points taken off if you do this wrong. Do I want tax-free? So you like, hey, I don't like the idea of not paying taxes. Guess what? This is in your retirement account. It's an IRA or a 401k. Did I say 529 earlier? I meant 401k. Your IRA, your 401k, it's not getting taxed. So when you get a tax-free bond, somebody, because they're rewarding you with no taxes, they're going to take back some by saying you're not getting as high returns. This is like governments. The governments try to encourage you to loan money to government by saying, well, we're not going to tax that. But then, because of that, they don't give you as high returns. But you don't care about taxes because it's in a tax shelter. So do not pick tax-free. Pick taxable. Okay, when it comes back, if you have something, I check it out. Again, you're going to give me the name of the stuff. I check it out, and it's a tax-free. You lose some points. So don't do that. Most importantly, don't do that to yourself when you're investing. So let's see what our matches are. Let's arrange it by the 10-year. Okay, Wasatch Hoisington. Let's check out this bad boy. So if you put 10,000 bucks in 2010, by now it would be worth almost 26,000. And then you've got down here, you've got the benchmarks that you can compare it with. Now, main thing I want to check first, I want to check how much they're charging you. And I would not like your, you know what? Oh, I know I forgot something. I did not click index. So this is actively managed, I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Exceeds the rate of inflation. The fund invests. If it doesn't say it's an index, and often it'll say it in the title, and it doesn't say it in the fund strategy, then it's probably actively managed. So this is actively managed. So make sure when you're picking the index, make sure you click index because this is actively managed. So I'm going to put that one down here. Okay. But the first thing I want to check for is the expense ratio. And I would like index funds to be less than 0.5%, but this isn't it. It's actively managed. But bonds should be less than 0.5% as well, but this isn't too much more than that, so that'd probably be okay. And no loads. This is just something that if you buy and sell within 60 days, you get charged, but we're not doing that. You're keeping this for a long time. So this one's acceptable. So I'll go ahead and write down. Remember, I made a mistake. We did actively manage first. I'll write down the name of the company, Wasatch Hoisington, and then name of the fund. I just like saying that, Wasatch Hoisington U.S. Treasury Fund. Web link, Schwab.com. I like some Schwab too. Okay, so let's fill it in. What do we got? Performance. $10, $5, 3-year versus the benchmark. This also tells you the rank in category, something else you could look at. So out of all of them in the category, 15-year, we're number one. Look at that. We're number one. And then, see, still throughout all these different, like one day we really don't care, okay? But all these different measurements, it's near the top. So you put that in here in your returns, and then you go to summary to get, here are your Morningstar ratings, and here is your risk. This is MED-HI, medium high. Cool. One more to do. One more. This we're going to do now, since we accidentally did the actively managed first. Now we're going to do index. So don't make my mistake. Where's my screen? There we go. So we're going to pick the advanced fund screener. We're going to pick performance. We're going to pick the 10-year. We're going to say, remember, do we want tax-free or do we want taxable? That's right, we want taxable because it'll tend to earn high returns. We don't care about taxes because it's in a tax shelter. That's right. But now we want to make sure this bad boy is an index fund. Let me see if that was one of the basic criteria. But yeah, index. Bam. And to make sure, so we're going to pick yes because we want to do index. When you're doing actively managed, okay, which we accidentally did first, but when you're doing actively managed, you could click instead no. Because if it's not indexed, then it's actively managed. But we'll say yes. Okay. Oh, only 6 matches. I wonder, something must be going on there. Okay. Now come over here and go by average 10-year return. And TIAA-CREF. There we go. Ugh. All those plunges. Don't want to look at that. Okay. Put in 10,000 and then see how. Okay, so this one is this is an index. Put in 10,000, by the end it would be worth almost 14. So you see the huge difference between bonds and stocks in the long run. That's just 10 years. If you're talking until retirement, it's going to be much bigger. So let's check right away. Can we keep this bad boy? Are the expenses low enough? Yeah, less than 0.44 and no, 12B1 fee. We don't want that. Okay, so I want one with no load. But let's say we were going to, so that's where to go in. Hopefully this is going to be 0 going under the load, and your expense ratio would go in here. But let's say it was a no load. Where else will we go for everything else? Hopefully you're getting the feel for this now. Let's start with the summary first. So you get your Morningstars, all threes, and then your risk, medium, high. And I guess we'll have to go to performance for the 3, 5, and 10. 3, 5, and 10. Okay, those will go in there. So you've now completed everything. Now that you've picked your portfolio, now last phase. Now you're at a new age. Now you're 40 with 2 kids, earning 50,000 for the household. Okay, so you probably need to be more earning more than that if you've got a family of 4, to try to make ends meet, especially with inflation. Um, but we're just using that as a planning number. Now, what are your new goals? Well, now you've got kids. So what are your goals? So you've got emergency reserve. Now, how much do you need for your emergency reserve? Well, you need 3 to 6 months worth. So figure out if you're making 50,000, what is 3 to 6 months worth going to be? How long do you need it? 0 years. Okay. The only other thing I need here is going to be what has changed. Now you've got kids, so kids education and amount required. Um, we're just not going to put anything for that right now. Just know that you need to be saving for it. Kids education. Although, wonder if the college bubble is going to hit by the time you guys have kids. Okay, so don't worry about an amount required. But kids education, 529 is something you can be saving for. Now, what mix of stocks and bonds do you plan to have? Well, remember the formula. What did you choose up here? Are you play it safe, middle of the road, or aggressive? Okay, which one are you? And depending on that, that's going to tell you how much stocks and bonds. Because now you're 40, so if you're play it safe, your bond allocation is your age. So then you'd 40% bonds, and then your stock is 100 minus your age. If you're middle of the road, it's your age minus 10 for bonds, and everything else goes in stock. If you're aggressive, it's age minus 20, and everything else goes in stock. And then you do the same thing for when you're 60. So what you notice, you get less and less bonds, more and more stocks. Think about how sad it was if someone was 60 and had everything in stock right before this big crash, right? Or what if you're 62 or 65 and you want to retire and everything's in stocks and bam, right? So you start getting more and more conservative because you can't recover. You have less time to recover or you have no time to recover. Okay, lastly, we've got a new extra credit thing. I used to have a shopping thing, but obviously you can't go shopping during COVID this year. But also, I just thought this would be something to bring everything together. And I mentioned, are you going to have enough to take care of your family? So this is something to get you thinking. Now that we've looked at expenses, you know, look up here. Let's go ahead and enlarge this bad boy. Do okay. So these expenses right here, household expenses, not college. Okay, you're still carefree, although you still should be saving. Okay, so household, your expenses, right? Well, how much you're spending is going to be, you're going to have to balance out with how much you're making, how much you're earning. So this is extra credit, but you can get up to 10 points based on how thorough you are. And like I say here, this is not to stress you out. Nobody expects you to have your career entirely planned out as a senior in high school. Just to get you thinking about possibilities, so when you do think about career choices, you've got some perspective. Hopefully, with the finances, you talk to your parents. Again, not about their specific situation. I don't want to know that. But for you, maybe they can tell you. It's up to y'all. But when you are having a family, what expenses are you going to expect? And does that match up with the career you're choosing? You want a family? Do you have a career that will pay for a family? Does the wife want to stay at home? If so, how much is the husband making? These are things it would be good to think about before you already get on the trajectory of your family life and your career. So I know it's not fun to talk about before getting married, but talk these things before you get married. So what degree do you plan to get? Just pick out, when I say degree, what I mean to hear is what major. Okay, what are you going to major in? Get a degree in what? Then, what occupation do you plan to get with that? So, if you can't think of one, I give you a website you could go to. Let me see if I've got that bad boy up. Here you go. U.S. News, and I think they get a lot of their data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, but just they might have some more helpful stuff sometimes. So they've got the 100 best jobs. You could search that out. Often among the best jobs are healthcare jobs, and because the baby boomers are getting older, but this is going more and more money going into that. And then you can look best paying jobs, which is not always the same, right? Because these could be very stressful. Anesthesiologist best paying, but you slip and somebody dies. Okay, so that could be kind of stressful. Um, so you could search out all of these. If you don't mind stress, you can just go with this, or you can look at the balance, and it maps it all out for you. It tells you like it gives you rankings as far as how flexible are the times, and they can even give you, um, and we'll look at more detail what are some of the things that offer. So if you have no clue, you can look through this. Something to get started. Okay, and then come on. So what career are you going to get? Then what's your job outlook looking like? So whatever the career that is you're going to go to, what does the job outlook look like? So you go to do this, you can either go to U.S. News or you can go to the BLS, Bureau of Labor Statistics. I gave you the websites there. Okay, and then so I've already done it for U.S. News, and like I say, you just go to that link, and then in the search box labeled "Find a Job," put the job you're going to be in there. And this one just kind of stood out because I'm like, everybody thinks, oh, I got to go to college and make a lot of money. Well, here, how about this one, dental hygienist, which and I think they put in here somewhere you can find out how much education it requires. But look at how much they're making. This is on average basically 75,000 bucks. So this is ranked. Just open your mind. Okay, out of the 100 best. This is not absolute science when they say number 24 out of the 100 best jobs, but they just put a whole bunch of statistics together, and this is something to help you think. So this is the spectrum. Okay, the bottom 25% are still earning 62,000, and at the end of the over up to 90,000. Now this might be like people living in California, where that's going to pay for breakfast, but because you could afford. What do you get for 250,000? You get a trailer to live in. So, the cost of living can throw things off some, but not looking too bad. So here's the scorecard. Kind of tells you salary overall, it's above average, 6.8. Job market and future growth. Job market means there's a lot of demand for you. Okay, future growth looking okay. Stress, 6, but not too bad. Work-life balance, which means my understanding is, you're not always at the job. Doctors, yeah, they can make a lot of money, but they can be on call a lot too. So it can be stressful, and you don't get to see your family. What I think this is saying is you can make sure you get to see your family. Another one that I saw was optometrist. Optometrists make, I think it was like 115,000 and still get to see their families all the time. And I think it's only 4 years of college. I don't think it's a destructive situation like what you have to go through to be a doctor. Even after your med school, then you got to go through internship. I don't know, but you could check that out with optometry. Okay, so um, this is something nice. Reviews and advice. They talk about how to get a job, what the job is like, And at some point, they even, for some of these, actually talk to somebody who's done the job. Something I would encourage you to do is talk to people who've got this job. See what they think about it. Not a lot of upward mobility. You're going to start not move up too much, but you're not doing that bad. Stress levels average, flexibility high, alternative work schedules, and work-life balance. I guess they're in great demand, and so they'll work with you. Let me see. Was it overview? So the unemployment rate for these people is 0.6%. Basically, it looks like if you want a job, you're getting a job. Projected 10.8% employment growth. So it's a growing field. And if you can't find it that easily here on US News, go to bls.org and you can find it there. By the way, if you don't want to do the extra credit, you can leave. You don't need to be listening to all this. This is just if you want to do the extra credit. Although I think it's a good idea. Okay, so here's dental hygienists on the BLS. So that website I gave you, and then you can just this is the Occupational Outlook Handbook. You can type in the job, see if it comes up there. Yeah, look, all you need is an associate degree. 2 years. 2 years, and you get a job that I don't know if you're going to start out. That's one thing we got to think of. It's not starting out at 76,000, but the median is that. And job outlook, 11% growth, fast, much faster than average. Okay, so does the future look good? Yes or no? So then you could either go to US News or BLS.gov to say for US News, where was that? Yeah, so future growth, 4 out of 10. I would think it'd be, well, job market, I guess. Job market looks good. I'm not sure why they only give it a 4 when it says, when BLS says it's growing. BLS, you could say, look to the job outlook right there, 11%. So you put that in there, okay? Now, does it look like there will be, yeah, I'm sorry, this should say, I'm going to have to change this, make a note. This should just be number 4 because I kind of repeated number 3. Number 4 should say, number 4 should say salary. Are you making enough to make ends meet? This is where it all comes together. So go back up here, get your annual expenses. What you do, take your total expenses, multiply by 12. Okay, so put that in there. That goes right in here, your total expenses. Then annual salary for this job. Now, for starting, what I want you to do, I want you to use the bottom 25% if it's US News, or bottom 10% for BLS. So go to pay, I think. Yeah, go to pay. And then, or maybe not. By the way, you can see them compared to all occupations. This is the average income of all occupations in America. Okay, so here you go. The lowest 10%, right about there. Now, this isn't perfect, but I'm using this to say when you get started, you're not going to be at the median, right? So this A is starting salary. I want you to use, if you're at the BLS, I want you to use the 10%, what they give right there. If you're on US News, I'll show you what they use in just a second, but I wanted to see, I misspoke, says usually I said 2 years, 3 years to get this degree. Okay, to get that associate's degree. But I bet there's plenty of. I think Chattahoochee Tech has this, and it's my understanding is tech schools are not as expensive as regular 4-year academic colleges. Okay, and they're they're right there next door. So if we wanted to look at here, bottom 25%, if you're using the U.S. News World Report, that would be what you'd rank as starting. Okay, then you take 10% because you want to be saving 10% of your annual, and it might actually end up being more than that. So you got your salary, okay, and then you've got figure out what is 10% of that, and then I want you to calculate your annual salary minus your annual expenses minus your annual savings. So I'm making this much, I'm saving this much, but I'm spending this much. Do I have a deficit or a surplus? How much is it? So here it comes out, and now is it a deficit or a surplus? Because remember, you want to make sure you're not only making more than you spend. Okay, you're not only equaling what you spend. You want to make more so that you can save for retirement and to help people in need, and to save for the other goals we said to save for. And then for this one, you do all the same steps, except for now you're using the median. This is when you're middle age, you've moved up. You first get started, but then you move up, get more experience, reputation, on-the-job training, and now you're earning more. Okay, and that would go into this box, middle-aged. Okay, so note, this is assuming only one person in your house is working. So this is another thing you can think about. Like, do we want somebody to stay home with the kids? How long are we going to stay home with the kids? Well, how much are we going to be making? All of this can go in the pot together. You could, like I said, you should also consider other facets of the career like work-life balance. Women, I'm not saying you have to, but it turns out many women, when they have kids, they want to make sure once they have the kids, spend more time with them. Are you going to consider that in the career? I'm not saying you have to. I'm just saying these are different things to think about. It's not just the money. Okay. And you can get lots of good stuff about that from U.S. News. I hadn't clicked on this video, but yeah, so you've got a person talking about their experience being a dental hygienist. Okay, and sometimes, so here's how you become a dental hygienist, and then there are some places, here's job satisfaction, advice from somebody doing this job. Many of them, they'll have somebody who actually does this job who will give their point of view. Let's just go back down. Where did that go? Okay, well, I lost it, but it's there somewhere. And you can do that again. Just take a look, see what jobs are out there. Maybe as you're thinking of a major, you can also think, is it something I enjoy? How much do I make? All those things going together. But these are good places to look to get an idea of what these careers, what possibilities they have. And once you've talked to your parents about how much it costs to have a family, that might give you some perspective about thinking about a career. But again, none of this is me telling you what to do. Hopefully I haven't been giving any specifics. You just try to help you think things through, and again, talk to your parents. They've got a lot of ideas, and they love you. So we'll be meeting for some online sessions. Please make sure you bring all your questions. Hopefully you've watched these videos and you try this stuff out before we talk, so I can help you the most. Thank you.